Good day, kids! I am Teacher Reza, your science teacher. For today, I will help and guide you on how to use and answer the first quarter Module 1 in Science 4, entitled Looking for the Right Material, by Ma'am Rochelle P. De Los Reyes as module writer and Sir Richard B. Rubrica as illustrator. Using the most essential learning competency, classify materials based on the ability to absorb water, float, sink, and undergo decay. This is brought to you by SDO of Caloocan City under Department of Education. Before we proceed, let me first remind you to make sure that you have your Science Module 1 with you while watching this video. Prepare your science notebook for writing important notes, reminders, and additional activity while doing the module. Now, before we start, let me ask you this. Have you tried looking for things at home or in school to wipe the spilled water on the floor? Have you asked your mother what materials to bring on the beach to prevent you from drowning? The module will help you choose the best material to use in a specific task or activity based on their properties or characteristics. For us to do the module effectively, let us read the instruction that you will need to follow throughout the process of accomplishing your module. As a parent or guardian, to help you in doing the hands-on activities. Write down in your notebook the important concepts and questions you would like to ask from your teacher or guardian. Click on the link provided if internet access is available to you for additional readings, videos, and exercises. You will work on your module for 1 week. It means that you can answer your module between October 5 to 9. And you can consult your science teacher based on his or her scheduled time in your class. What we need to accomplish are as follows. Describe and classify materials based on their ability to absorb water. Compare the characteristic of materials which do not absorb water and materials which absorb water. Identify and classify materials that float and sink, and identify and classify materials that undergo decay. In page 2 of your module, you will see the pretest. What you are going to do is to read the questions carefully, and you will write the letter of the correct answer in the blank provided before the number. You will write here the letter of your chosen answer. The pretest consists of 5 questions that are administered at the start of the module to check if you have pre-existing knowledge and concepts in the given science subject. Also, on page 2 of your module, at the bottom part and on the next page, which is page 3, you will find the looking back part, wherein this section it will measure what learnings and skills did you understand from your previous lessons. Since it is our first module in grade 4, we will recall your lesson in your science grade 3. What you are going to do in this part is just read the concepts and encircle the words that describe the property of the coin in this part. You will choose and encircle what size, shape, color, texture, and sound of a 5 peso coin. Below, you will also see a link that you can type and watch in YouTube if you have internet access available for your additional information. Next is, we will see the brief introduction which can be found on your Module 1, page 3 to 4. This section will give you an overview of our lesson. It also has a YouTube link that you can watch for additional information. After the brief introduction, you have now your activities. The first activity, which can be found on page 4 of your science module, entitled Squeeze It Out. You are asked to have the following materials found at home to perform the activity. The materials needed are coin, sponge, handkerchief, plastic spoon, cotton, tissue paper, and basin with water. What you are going to do is to put the materials in the basin with water, and after 30 seconds, you will lift up each materials and squeeze them one by one on top of the basin. In this first and second column, you only need to check yes if the water came out of the material when you squeeze it, and no if not. In the third column, you will only put a check if material absorbs water or cross out if it does not. After you will answer the table, you may proceed to page 5 and answer the guide questions on the space provided on the module. There are things that have small holes that allow air or liquid to pass through. We call them absorbent or porous. Those are the materials from our activity where the water comes out when you squeeze them after lifting in water. There are also things that we call waterproof or non-porous materials, where the materials do not allow air or liquid to pass through. Those are the materials from the activity that do not release water when you squeeze them after lifting in water. After you will perform the activity, please write on your science notebook the absorbent and waterproof items from the materials used in Activity 1. Follow the format indicated in the screen. On page 5, you will see the Activity 2, entitled Float or Sink. You need to prepare the following materials. Follow the directions and answer the following questions on the space provided in your module. If in case the space provided is not enough for your answer, you can use a separate sheet of paper. What does float and sink means? Float means to stay above the surface of the water, and sink means to go below the surface of water. Some materials float and some materials sink. Some materials that float are materials made of wood and plastic. Materials made of metal usually sink. Some stay partly submerged. Different materials do not sink all at the same time. Some sink very fast and some very slowly. Some things float at first but then sink as they absorb water or take water on through holes. Some things sink very fast and some things sink slowly. An object's shape can affect its ability to float, but some materials float no matter what their shape, such as styrofoam and balsa wood. After you will perform the Activity 2, please write on your science notebook the materials that float and sink from the materials used in Activity 2. Follow the format indicated in the screen. On page 6 of your module, you will find the Activity 3, entitled Dig It. What you're going to do is to pick the materials that decay in this box and write your answer in the blanks provided below. It also has a link below that you can use if you have available internet connection for your additional information. Before I will proceed to discuss your next activity in the module, I will first show you a picture. What do you notice in this picture? Now, on the next pictures, it shows biodegradable materials. Materials that have the ability to decay. Some examples are leftover foods, vegetable and fruits peelings, fish bone, dried plants, and dead animals. Non-biodegradable materials are materials that do not decay, like tin cans, empty wrappers, styrofoam, plastic containers, glass, and metals. Those are some examples of non-biodegradable materials. After answering Activity 3, write on your science notebook at least 3 or more biodegradable and non-biodegradable materials. Follow the format indicated on the screen. On page 7 of your module, you will find Activity 4, entitled Find What's Hidden. What you will do is to just simply find and encircle the hidden materials in the picture. To help you find the hidden material in the picture, this group of words in the box will help you. Afterwards, you are going to group them according to their properties in the graphic organizer below. Items can be written more than once. This is the clearer copy of picture on page 7 if ever those pictures appear unrecognizable on your printed science module. Next part is the Check Your Understanding on page 8. In part A, you will just simply look at the pictures and analyze what materials do you need in the given situations. You will choose your answer in the box below. Then write the letter of your answer in the blanks provided before the number. In part B, you will write down the proper label for each trash bin in the boxes. On page 8 and 9, you will find the Remember part. This section summarizes the concepts and application of your lesson in the module. What you are going to do is to write it on your science notebook. In the first activity, you were asked to create this table of absorbent and waterproof materials. Beside it, you will write the important definitions of absorbent and waterproof. You can highlight the word absorbent and waterproof using marker or just underline it to emphasize the word. For the second activity, that's about float and sink, you can write after this. You can also highlight the word float and sink using marker or just underline it. For the third activity, that's biodegradable and non-biodegradable materials, you can write after this. Again, you can highlight the words biodegradable and non-biodegradable materials using marker or just underline it. On page 9 and 10, you will find the Postness. This will measure how much you have learned from the entire module. Just read the questions carefully and write the letter of the correct answer in the blank provided before the number. And the last part of the module on page 10 is the reflection. That consists of two parts. In part A, you will just simply draw the face that describes how much you have learned the concepts presented in this module in the self-reflect column. This is smiley if you have learned a lot, The second smiley if you think you need more exercises. And draw third smiley if you did not learn anything in the module after you use and answer it. In part B, you will make or draw a poster to show the importance of classifying different materials based on their ability to absorb water, float, or sink, and undergo decay at home, in school, and in your community. The materials that you're going to use are 1/2 cartolina, or you can also use bond paper, whatever is available, coloring materials, eraser, and pencil. You can send your picture or video of hands-on activities that you've done in science module, and the poster in the GC with your science teacher to let them and others see and appreciate your work. And that is how you are going to use and answer your Module 1 in Science. Thank you and happy learning. I am Teacher Reza, your science teacher.